We were discussing Mendeecees and the reasons for his absence from Yandy before you came here. On a boat, she received a fine. Indeed. Startling. Are Mendeecees and Yandy even married? The truth has been revealed. Fans are always speaking, and the internet is ablaze with conversation about one of the most significant subjects in hip-hop and love history. For years, viewers believed in the relationship between Mendeecees Harris and Yandy Smith. The relationship seems to be perfect on the surface, but there are now allegations that increasing in volume, and suspicions are starting to arise. Are they indeed husband and wife? Or has the world been duped by a storyline that seems too good to be true? In Puerto Rico, tensions are already high. Mama D, who never backs down from a battle, has been caught in the middle of the chaos. She looks straight into the camera and says with her trademark conviction, "Men can't handle the truth, but I'll get it out of him." It sounds like a thunderclap when she speaks. Suddenly, matters about love, loyalty, and legality start to spiral out of control. The crowd lets out a gasp. Friendships are broken apart by social media's explosion. If their marriage isn't real, what does it mean for all the years of vows, tears, and sacrifices we have witnessed? Tonight, we go closely into the conversations, the receipts, and the encounters that might change everything. Relaxation, sunbathing, and a little break from the hustle and bustle of Atlanta were the objectives of the trip to Puerto Rico. But anybody who knows hip-hop and love would know why she would feel bad if they weren't really wedded. I'm going to talk to Mendeecees since he keeps trying to take my temperature today. Mendeecees, you can't handle the truth. Beautiful pictures of houses and yachts. But underneath the glamour lay something much more serious. Questions about Mendeecees and Yandy hovered in the air like thick clouds. There were whispers before a storm at the resort. Someone said they saw. Then Mama D proves once again that she is the real Southern monarch. Messy, unfiltered, and unforgettable. Because of Puerto Rico, stay put. Tall, toned, and seemed unyielding in their abs. He didn't seem to be a casual friend or business associate. He seemed to be trouble. And in the reality TV business, chaos spreads faster than wildfire. The actors couldn't help themselves. Phones appeared zooming in from balconies, and within minutes, screenshots were being exchanged in secret group discussions. Another voice said, "Is that Yandy?" in a shocked tone. If it is her, who is the man she is seeing? Suddenly, the rumors became into debates, and the arguments turned into suspicions. The potential for this telephone game to spiral out of control is well known to home viewers. And by the time Mama D showed there, everything had already turned into a whole scandal. Mama D thrives in situations like this. With her crown tilted just so and her sharp tongue ready to go, she positioned herself as the truth seeker. She called it as she saw it. "Mendeecees can't handle the truth," she continued with a sly smile. "But I'm going to get it out of him." Mama D didn't come for friendship, she came for receipts, Dot stated. Fans stopped watching. They rewinded and repeated the words. The next day, during a casual poolside party, the topic became viral. Scrappy was sipping cocktails and lounging to keep the mood light. But the moment Mama D, she took a seat and told them the secret. She added, "We were just talking about why Mendeecees is out here alone while Yandy on a yacht with some fine man." Finally, someone spoke out, and the gathering stopped, eyes widening, the accusation weighing heavy on everyone. Not even Mama D batted an eye. She said, "Wait, are you sure that was her?" "Baby, I know what I witnessed. If she is really his wife, why is she out here hiding with another man?" When the word wife was spoken, everyone was taken aback. The way Mama D emphasized it, practically asking someone to challenge her, made it clear that this was about more than adultery. The question was legitimacy. Was their marriage a reality? Or had the two been selling fans a false impression for all these years? The shock echoed across the crowd. Kirk shook his head, leaned back, and spoke without fear. "You know, I've always wondered about it. Have the paperwork from Yandy's whole TV wedding ever been seen?" Rashidita looked at him, but she couldn't help but consider it too. The cameras zeroed in on faces, recording every raised eyebrow and every whisper. Fans know at home that the real meaning is communicated via these subtle clues. The story's background. This was more than just a rumor now. Something far bigger was unraveling. Later that night, Mendeecees arrived to the villa. Como es normal, but his calmness just served to fan the flames. As she waited, Mama D was almost leaping with anticipation. She was not time-consuming. With her trademark grin, Mendeecees said, "People have started asking questions. You say Yandy is your wife, yet she's out here with another man. And I want to ask you a question. Are the two of you even legally married?" It was quiet in the room. Everyone leaned in to hear his response, holding their breath. Mendeecees tried to brush it off with a little chuckle. "Now move quickly. People love to talk," he said, making a hand gesture. But Mama D would not give up. "People talk, baby, when there's something to talk about. You may laugh all you want since the streets are claiming that you lack any paperwork." It hit right in the middle. The tension cracked like a rubber band, and soon there was side conversation throughout the mansion. "So they didn't sign anything? Wait a moment. What about that special wedding? Is this all a charade?" As the questions increased, Mendeecees could no longer hide behind his calm demeanor. Finally, he leaned forward and softened his voice, trying to regain control. "Look, there's something real between Yandy and myself. Whether we read papers or watch TV, our love is sincere." But his comments merely increased suspicion. Why stress love if the legal element was so clear? Why avoid the actual question? Mama D saw weakness and took a step closer. "It's implied that you never made an official announcement about it." Her tone was almost jovial, and she knew she had captured him. Mendeecees was so quiet it was deafening. Words could never tell the story, as well as faces on the opposite side of the room. Everyone was processing the same concept, yet some were sympathetic and others were scandalized. Fans may have been expecting for a relationship that wasn't even based on the idea. Social media took off. After seeing videos of the occurrence scattered over timelines with comments like, "Wait, Yandy and Mendeecees never got married and Mama D always exposes the truth," fans divided into two factions. Some said that love doesn't need a piece of paper. Mendeecees and Yandy have been through enough to prove their dedication. Others said that it was deceitful and dishonest to offer a marriage plan without the official commitment. Viewers. The issue only got worse as rumors started to spread. However, some have previously discounted Yandy's admission that she never filed for the marriage license, pointing to Mendeecees' financial troubles. Suddenly, it felt like a smoking gun. Andy's, meantime, was caught between protecting his relationship and avoiding the fight Mama D had arranged. Fans watched as he shifted uncomfortably. The spotlight caused his typically composed visage to falter. "Me and my wife, we good," he finally said. But even those claims seemed ambiguous. If Yandy was really his wife, why did he appear to be trying to convince himself more than anybody else? As the night came to a close, tension lingered, and the cast divided into smaller groups, each buzzing with their own theories. While some questioned Mendeecees, others defended Yandy, but everyone agreed that the trip had changed from a celebration to an investigation, with Mama D at the forefront. She wasn't backing down, and neither were the questions. Was the love story genuine, or was it just another staged moment designed to boost entertainment value? Tension from Mad's bombshell was still very much present, and the villa was unusually quiet. Normally, the kitchen would be filled with clinking glasses, laughter, and conversation about the previous night, but this time, everyone seemed cautious, waiting to see who would make contact. Mad poured herself a cup of coffee and turned to Kirk, whispering just loud enough for cameras to record. "I don't know, babe. Something about how males avoided that subject last night bothered me." Kirk shrugged, but his face was intrigued. He listened. When the cast met by the pool at lunchtime, the topic of Yandy and Mendeecees inevitably came up again, and Scrappy tried to act as a mediator by stating, "Look, marriage is more than a paper," she replied. "If they're not married, that's their business. But because of the way Mama brought it up, it's now everyone's business. I know people married on paper but ain't got no love." "The lie, Scrap, is the big deal," Mama D said firmly, leaning forward in her chair and refusing to let it go. "The public deserves the truth if you want to present yourselves as a husband and wife and make money off of that image." Everyone realized that there was no going back when she said, "Don't sit here and sell a fairy tale if it's really a story without an ending." What started out as a rumor had now later in the day, he paced around the pool and said, "That's my partner, my best friend, and my family. I don't understand why everyone's so invested in my paperwork." His remarks were powerful, but it was evident from the stillness that followed that they were insufficient. Erica, who had been silently watching, spoke, saying, "You write about love, but you got to admit this looks bad. Fans cheer you on. You think a piece of paper changes that? If you're not really married, don't you think that's misleading? You out here acting like the black love poster couple, but behind the scenes it might not be all that real." That stung. Mendeecees rubbed his forehead, clearly frustrated. "People always want to question us. Yandy held it down when I was locked up. She raised the kids. She kept the family together, "You don't know what I've been through," she screamed, raising her voice high enough to drown out everyone else. "Baby, you keep saying paper doesn't matter, but if it doesn't matter, why not just sign it?" It was a dagger of a question, and everyone leaned forward, anticipating his response. "What frightens you?" Yandy knew why we hadn't signed at the time. It wasn't no game. It was for her and the kids' protection. "Paperwork can sometimes bind you in ways you can't even fathom," she added. Mama D, sensing weakness, pounced again. "Protection, huh? Or perhaps it's because you never wanted to make her your wife in the first place." Scrappy put his head in his hands and mumbled, "Lord, Mama." The explanation sounded reasonable, but his delivery was shaky, and fans watching at home would not miss the hesitation, the subtle cracks in his voice. From that moment on, the vacation had transformed from a place of fun outings to a battleground of rumors and disputes. Yandy, on the other hand, was noticeably absent. She hadn't been spotted since the yacht sighting, which only fueled the controversy. People began to question whether she was deliberately avoiding the group to avoid the criticism. Some cast members began to support Mendeecees, arguing that love doesn't require government approval, while others supported Mama D, asserting that the entire marriage story was a TV and fan show. Is she innocent? Why not face the consequences? Rashidita said one evening before the unexpected turn of events occurred. But the truth is, we're not married the way people think we are. But the truth is, we're not married the way people think we are. The villa erupted when they caught wind of the confession. Suddenly, everything Mama D had been shouting about seemed validated. Kirk muttered, "Oh, damn it." A producer had included a preview tape of Yandy sitting with tears in her eyes while recording a confessional interview. Erica really remarked, "Fans are going to lose it," while clutching her chest. Once again, social media started trending, with admirers using hashtags like #OnToYandyTruth and Fake Wedding to analyze every aspect. Others accused her of betraying her by saying that she had established a brand on half-halted dashes, while others backed her, saying that the love was real despite the paperwork. When Mama D returned to the villa, she strolled around as if she had just taken over her country. How should I respond? The truth always comes out, didn't I tell you? Baby, you can't mess with the queen. Mendeecees sat silently, gazing out to sea as if seeking answers in the waters, demonstrating how the gathering was obviously divided into camps. Supporters of Yandy's choices said that the documentation did not take away from the sacrifices she made during Mendeecees' absence, while detractors claimed that fans had every right to feel misled given their whole relationship was marketed as a marriage. Officially, the vacation had shifted from being about sun and enjoyment to being about loyalty and treachery, truth and deceit. And the questions only became louder as the hours passed. Some held beverages while the group regrouped, while others remained silent and awaited the next storm. Eventually it did, and in an attempt to maintain harmony, Scrappy stood up and said, "Listen, y'all, we got to stop acting like Yandy murdered somebody." She merely said that the marriage wasn't what people believed, that there might be more to it, that it might be complicated, but that doesn't take away from the years they've spent together. Mama D, who was obviously not convinced by the conciliatory approach, leaned back in her chair and smiled mischievously. "Scrap you too soft on these folks," she said. "If you were lying to your fans, they would cancel you before daybreak." Rashida put gasoline into the fire and sipped her wine. Yandy has been living off this wife image for years. Endorsements, speeches, and women looking up to her as the perfect wife. All built on a fake contract. That ain't just complicated, baby. That's calculated. It's not just about affection. Kirk, who nodded in agreement but spoke cautiously, was the subject of the cameras. "I've played this game long enough to understand that sometimes appearances are crucial, but you should be ready for the repercussions when you use images. Lies are not often forgiven by the public." After being quiet for much of the evening, Mendeecees eventually spoke. Black love and marital aspirations served as the foundation for Yandy's whole brand. Now, what does it say about the brand if it wasn't real? What about the admirers who believed in her? His words were powerful, but rather than soothing the storm, they caused another one to flare up. And Erica, who had been quiet for hours, finally lost her temper. "You're suggesting that while it's not legal, it's genuine to you? Marriage isn't like that. You behave as if we got together and decided to con the whole world. It seemed genuine to us as we performed the ceremony. It had significance. We didn't complete the papers for various reasons. There was no scheme. When it counts, you can't simply pick and choose." Mama D clapped her hands theatrically. "Erica, thank you. Baby, if it ain't legal, it ain't real. I've been married, so I know what those paperwork imply." Finally, someone with common sense stated that, That's how simple it is. At that time, the villa doors opened and Yandy stepped inside. Even though she looked exhausted, with red eyes and fading makeup, her very presence altered the mood. She wasted no time in speaking, and everyone waited for her to do so. With her shoulders straightened and her voice shaking but firm, she stepped to the middle and said, "So, you've been sitting here tearing me apart while I'm not even in the room. Good. Because now I get to set the record straight. Yes. The documents were not signed, and on paper we are not husband and wife. But let me ask you something," she said. "That's a wife? Paper or no paper?" And the room fell silent for a moment before Mama D burst out laughing, unrepentant, almost mocking. "Oh, baby, that's cute," she said. "But loyalty doesn't make you a good person. Who took care of Mandy's kids when he left? When the family needed help, who was there? And who are you to question my marriage?" Yandy shot back for the first time, her eyes narrowing. Mama D. "You have no idea what my man and I have been through. You're unaware of the sacrifices I've made, the tears I've shed, and the struggles I've faced. Mendeecees still comes home to me at the end of the day, even if you sit here creating up trouble. A wife. Many women keep it down for guys who aren't their husbands. You made that decision." Unfazed, Mama D stood up, her crown-like hair soaring as if she had been meant to battle. "You will not disrespect me, little girl," she said. "Before you ever considered television, I was a queen. And whether you like it or not, I'm going to reveal the truth. Not you." The audience erupted in gasps, and Scrappy bent his head again, murmuring, "Lord, here we go." Yandy's lips trembled, but she looked to the gathering and whispered, "Believe what you want," refusing to let them see her shatter. "I am aware of who I am. I am aware of who we are. I don't need your approval at the end of the day," she said, storming out by slamming the door so hard that the villa's walls appeared to quiver and leaving a deafening stillness. Why the tears in that confessional? "Oh, because the truth hurts, don't you?" Then, later that night, there were whispers in the bedrooms, and Rashida told Kirk that she thought Yandy loved Mendeecees, but the deceit was too much. Erica vented to Bambi about how women like Yandy set bad examples by making up stories. Scrappy the Peacemaker admitted to Mama D in private that he didn't like the whole situation. The biggest twist, though, came just before midnight when a producer hurried into the villa with breaking. "They act like we criminals," Mendeecees muttered as he rummaged through his phone. But deep inside, he knew that the tempest was just beginning. Kirk then delivered another bombshell. "Why were you two drafting a prenuptial agreement if documentation doesn't matter?" The group sat in shocked silence, knowing that the controversy had finally reached a point of no return. "Because that's paperwork, too." Everyone froze, and Mendeecees looked dumbfounded for the first time as the camera focused on his face. The next morning, the villa was tense. Nobody wanted to be the first to face Yandy after the blow-up, but the chatter from social media had already taken over. Mama D, wearing a bright robe and drinking tea like the island's queen, was the first to break the silence. "Well, the internet did my work for me. I said the truth would come out, and here it is. All of the cast members were secretly relieved that they weren't the ones being attacked. But they were also getting ready for what was about to happen. Look, Yandy's brand might be in trouble, but we got to remember she's still got influence. People love her." Erica, sitting next to her, nodded. "They were dragging her. And honestly, I don't blame them. You can't tell people you're married for years and then switch up when it's convenient. That's betrayal." Rashida, always the businesswoman, took a more cautious approach. "I am aware that I am being torn apart by the blogs." Mendeecees followed behind her, looking more tired than angry but clearly ready to stand by her side. "I know half of y'all in here," Yandy said before anyone could reply. The sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway, and she emerged with her head held high and her eyes puffy. She walked to the center of the room and stood there looking at every face one by one. "Let me tell you something, though. I never meant to lie to anyone. When Mendeecees and I had our ceremony, it was real to us and to me. The paperwork didn't happen for reasons I don't have to explain, but the love was always real." Mama D snorted. "Here we go again with the love speech." Yandy's voice rose. "Yes, love speech. Because love is what got me through his time away. I raised children who weren't even mine as if they were mine out of love." The room remained silent, but the tension was electric. Then Mendeecees came forward, his tone low and almost defeated. "I don't care about the papers. I don't care about the headlines, I care about my family. Yandy held me down when everyone else disappeared, so if you don't call her my wife, that's on you. But to me, she's always been my wife. Love is what created the foundation that you're sitting here trying to tear down. Yandy fought back tears as she shook her head. It's funny that despite everyone's insistence that paperwork is important, half of the people with papers still break up, cheat, and leave. That's nice, but the fans don't live in your house. They live online, and the online paper is proof. Without that, your story is shaky, I hear you. And you write, papers don't keep a family together, but the way you built your image, the way you presented it, that's why folks feel betrayed, she said, affecting Rashida, who turned to face Kirk. As the room echoed with murmurs of agreement, Yandy's words seemed to resonate with their own challenging past. And Rashida spoke with empathy for the first time. Whether you are honest is more important than whether you love Mendeecees. Then, as if the drama wasn't enough, a producer's assistant entered with more shocking news. Y'all, TMZ just dropped something. Apparently, there is a record of Mendeecees signing documents years ago that listed him as single, and it was after y'all's ceremony. Yandy froze, eyes darting toward Mendes. What is she talking about? Everyone looked at him and he looked trapped, fumbling for something. When Scrappy tried to contact Mama D, the crowd exploded. That was just paperwork for a deal, he said. Didn't mean nothing. Baby, you've been selling dreams to this woman and to the world. That was a placeholder, a storyline. Mama D sprang to her feet, gesturing to him as if she had been waiting for this moment. Rashida covered her mouth in shock. Erica whispered, Lord, this is going to get ugly. And Yandy turned to Mendeecees, her hands shaking. Is that right? After all, you were announcing your unmarried status. Mendes' face broke. It wasn't like that, Yandy. It was just for business. It has nothing to do with us, I swear. But Yandy's voice broke, exposing her raw pain. No, it's vital. Once again, Yandy ran out without slamming the door, and the silent departure seemed more definitive and weighty. You left me looking foolish, but I have been standing up for you and for us. For the first time, the group appeared to share her anguish as tears streamed down her cheeks, and even Mama D, who was firm, seemed troubled. Every tear, every quiet, every harsh breath was captured on video. The kind of reality TV scene where producers want to show the unfiltered breakdown of a seemingly stable marriage. Mendeecees stood at the entrance, watching her from a distance, unsure whether to follow or give her room as the action came to an end. Words could never express what the quiet between them did. Inside Mama D smirked as she turned to Scrappy. Seeing that public image was no longer the only consideration. This included treachery, trust, and the difference between performance and actuality. Yandy looked out to sea while talking to herself in a broken voice on the balcony outside, not realizing that she was still being picked up by a microphone. What started as rumors on a Puerto Rican boat has turned into one of the most explosive scandals that reality TV viewers have ever witnessed. Mendes and Yandy, who were once thought to be the pinnacle of strength and commitment, are now dealing with issues that go straight to the core of their relationship. Is it a cleverly constructed illusion, or are they legally married? Was Yandy defending her reputation or her family? You, sweetie. The truth always comes to light. The controversy that started as rumors suddenly blew up into the most important topic of all. Not simply. The cast was divided, the arguments were candid, and the emotions were running high. Some chose Yandy's side, pointing to her sacrifices, while others couldn't ignore the paper trail and the unresolved issues. Of course, Mama D promised to look into the matter thoroughly. If history is any guide, she won't let this go until every secret is revealed. Now it's up to you. What do you think? Is marriage the only way to resolve a conflict? Genuine if there is documentation, or are love and dedication enough? Do you think Yandy's story of what happened is true, or do you think Mendeecees has been hiding the truth? Will they survive better than before, or is this the beginning of the end for them? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this in-depth look at the drama, please remember to hit the like button. Turn on the alerts and subscribe for more exciting updates. You never miss the next surprise. We guarantee you, however, that this story is far from over. Far from over.